right, let me do something real quick. Anybody got any questions while we're waiting? Getting things started over here.
The EDR, the endpoint detection and response, is that similar to a SIM tool?
Endpoint detection response, kind of, sorta, because they are collecting logs, right? You can forward your logs over to it, and it'll, you could query the logs from the EDR platform just like you would a SIM tool. It's pretty similar. There are a lot of other tools that share the same concepts as a SIM, right? Where you could use it to send logs and query the logs from that location. That was a good one.
I just saw it in a question that I had. I got it wrong and kind of threw me off. So I had to write some, trying to find out more about it. Thank you.
No, that was good, man. That was dope. What's up, Vess?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. All right, still got a few more people joining, but let's go ahead and get things started. I don't want to keep everybody up late tonight. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. Welcome back to Sabbath Thursday. Tonight we're gonna do a pop quiz, but before we do that pop quiz, I want to give Sylvester a chance to just get out some story points, maybe one or two story points, however many you want to practice on. And we can just go back and forth to make sure we sharpen it and make sure you're right for that next interview. So whenever you're ready, how many story points do you have together?
Got about 4 together.
All right. I mean, we could start with one of them. Go ahead and start with one. And let me listen to it. Let me see what's going on.
Okay. The question is, well, excuse me, I'm sorry, getting over a cold. Well, this is a question I wrote down from an interview I've had before. Basically, it's saying how name a tool that you've used and how do you prioritize scanning for vulnerabilities. And what I told him was that one of my favorite tools I use is OpenVAS. The good thing about OpenVAS is when it scans, you can prioritize. It shows the list and prioritizes from top to bottom, from high priority to low priority, and it helps you that way attack the ones that are high priority, as well as see what's the biggest need for right now. The reason why I brought up that story point is that the interviewer told me that they wanted me to expand a little bit more, and I was kind of a little bit shaky on like how to expand a little bit more, and that's actually the story point I want to kind of bring up on how to strengthen in that, because I felt that when I was speaking about OpenVAS, that's kind of like a clear point, to the point type of answer I gave, but I was told to expand a little bit more on that.
Yeah, we definitely want to elaborate a little bit more. Let me see. Well, a lot more on that. Let me check something out in the channel real quick. Yeah, so there is a story point on OpenVAS. So I'm gonna give you something else, but I'll elaborate a little bit. But the first story point in that channel is on OpenVAS on the 03 channel. Wait, did I send it to you? I don't think I sent it to you, but
yeah. What is the most challenging situation?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I had looked at it at first, but I'm guessing I got kind of confused as to the way he kind of reworded the question.
So the question in here, the question in here isn't the question they're gonna ask.
Yeah.
So let me talk about these story points. The questions, and I'll show it to everybody while we're looking at it. So the questions in here are not necessarily questions they're going to ask. That's not what the story points are for. The story points are here for you to organize your skills within a story that actually matters to employers, right? They can ask you a number of questions, but regardless of what they ask you, if you know your story points well enough, you can rephrase it for that question, right? Or do what you got to do, think quickly on your feet to use it for a specific question. So if somebody asks you what's your favorite thing about OpenVox, that first story point in there would have been the best answer in the world, right? Because you could have just said, one of my favorite things about OpenVox is X, Y, and Z. Let me tell you about a challenging situation that I had with it. That's how you would throw that story point in there. Because the question to that story point is, what is the most challenging situation you ever faced in your life? How did you manage it? If somebody asks you, hey, what's your favorite thing about OpenVox? I would flip the script. I say, yeah, there are a few things I like about OpenVox. I think it'd be best if I tell you using a challenging situation. Boom. But let me share my screen real quick. So the story points I'm about to show you all on YouTube are not the same. Right now on Zoom are not the same story points that we give to our students. All right, our students' story points are a lot more specific to the tools they're using in class. So that OpenVox story point is perfect for you.
Gotcha.
So story points, y'all, just a little brief background. Story points, they're stories, right? They're stories about your skills, tools that you've used that are applicable to the job you're applying to, not just any tool. So if it is a vulnerability analyst position, talk about your vulnerability skills, right? Create story points. These are from Amazon. They have leadership principles. Create story points on your skills, right? Give an example of when you did X, Y, and Z. Create a story on it, but not just any story. The story has to specifically answer this question with tools that are applicable to the position. And then you summarize that story with results. As a result, X, Y, and Z happen, right? If you can use metrics like numbers, percentages to sum it up, then cool. But some people get this confused with the elevator pitch. This is completely different from the elevator pitch. This is on a completely another level, right? The elevator pitch, that's like Kaioken or Super Saiyan. The story points, this is Super Saiyan 3, right? You can't lose with these. The ones on Discord are way better than the ones that we're looking at now, y'all. Sylvester and Larry, the ones on Discord are the ones that you want to practice and learn and be able to use. Okay. But yeah, that's how I would answer out. You always want to try to, if you can't give, if somebody asks you a question and you weren't ready for it, if you don't have an answer for it, instead of saying no, rephrase the question. Right? You can always rephrase the question. What's it gonna hurt? All right. Any other questions on the story points, Vest? Or Larry, anybody? Because Larry and Vest, you two are working on yours.
Yeah, sorry, can y'all hear me?
Yep.
What's up, everybody? I'm Damalari. Nice to meet you guys. I used to be in one of the class back in May, but graduated. I've been having troubles also with my story points too, trying to put it together. I've been applying different places, and I think I haven't shared this with Toby yet, but he's know my situation as far as trying to get interviews and things like that. I think my biggest problem for me is, and this could be something you guys could learn from, is I've always got to that point where recruiters would hit me up and I would do an interview like with them, but it doesn't go past that. So as a recent, I went back to the drawing board, try to do everything else that I feel like I wasn't doing, and see what the problem was, and just trying to work on like my interview skills. Like initially, I was just giving word answers. Like when recruiter asks questions, I don't elaborate more on my answers, and I think that was the problem that I was having. So I had to go back and like work on that. And as of recent, it's been getting better. Like recruiters are hitting me up. The job has been asking me to do another interview. I actually have another one coming up next week for a second. But I don't want to jump the gun yet until the offer letter comes in. But
you said it was the second interviews next week?
Yeah, it's next week.
Yeah. All right. So man, what y'all waiting for, man? Why y'all be waiting till the last minute to tell me this stuff, bro? Like,
Nah,
send me the job description so I can look at it, analyze it, break it down for you, so I can give you study points. We don't want to wait till the last minute to start studying for interviews.
all right, because every time I tell you about the first one, like someone was happening, doesn't go past that, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. But you got the second one now. You got the second one now, bro. Come on.
Yeah, I got the second one now. So, but I wasn't gonna say anything until that second one was done, and
you didn't want to jinx it.
I don't want to jinx it exactly. But I'm glad I logged in today and able to just brainstorming with you guys and get some kind of knowledge on how to go about it. So this is like the perfect Cyber Thursday for me to join. So yeah, thank you. But yeah,
and congratulations on that. You all need to realize I do it too. We all gonna do it. It is what it is. But when you get past that first stage, you get that second interview, you need to pat yourself on the back, right? If people are calling you, they like your resume, pat yourself on the back because it's not easy. There are people who are trying to get calls every day. They're on LinkedIn crying about it every day. You're getting it. You're doing the right thing. If you're not seeing the outcome, okay, there's something that needs to be worked on, right? And we all know what we need to work on, which is pretty cool. So, hey, congratulations on that. And you too, Bess, congratulations on your interviews as well, because y'all are doing good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to piggyback on one thing just now, and he just said just now. Honestly, and just the message to the class, the hardest thing you're ever gonna face and is just going through the class and getting certified, because as much as we said, prepping for the interviews is difficult and all that, I like it a whole lot easier than taking it to. And Vic always said this. Toby always said this before, and I didn't understand. I was like, well, we're gonna be talking a lot, but I tell you guys this: follow every single thing Vic says, and just piggybacking. I had I didn't know that my resume was this strong. I even messaged Vic. I have a big interview coming up too. So, Vic was like, wow, that means your resume is strong. Because my resume had to be cleared through a first process before I can even speak with anybody. So please pay attention to everything he's saying in class. Every single thing, you're going to repeat the same exact thing, word for word, when it comes to interviews, because they're going to ask the same type of situational questions that he's asking you right now. And I know my class, we always used to say, what would Toby say? What would Toby do?
That's funny. That's funny. That's dope, man. That's dope. I'm happy for y'all. Y'all would be in the field in no time. Trust me. It's really a waiting game. It's a patient game. I think the hardest part about all of this, y'all are just doing it, right? Because everything's already here for you guys. Story points are here for you guys. The resume points are here for you guys. The interview skills are here. It's just actually doing it. Everybody got things going on in their lives, and it gets hard to do things, especially when you get out of class. You don't have that set schedule anymore. So now it gets a little bit more challenging. But all right, Larry and Vesh, I got any questions you want to talk about? Definitely look at those story points. I'm telling you. Use the ones on Discord. Don't worry about these right here. These are just generic ones for to guide the world, give everybody a head start. But the ones on Discord are applicable to what you're doing. And I intentionally made different ones in there for different scenarios. You can add to it, take away from it, or you can just use it as is. That's what you all are doing in this course. And everybody who's in class now, you don't see it yet, right? You all will see it once you, like on the last week. I'll probably let you all see it next week. Maybe, we'll see. All right, let's knock out a quick pop quiz. All right, let's see if y'all can beat me this time. Let's see. Actually, let's do an interview style. I want to do it differently. I'm going to find 2 or 3 good questions, and we're going to do this interview style. Oh, first one. And we can all work on this together. Take me through the incident response process using this attack. Let's use something that's really common across organizations. Incident response process. How would you, if this is an interview and I'm asking you, Please take me through the incident response process using a phishing campaign as the incident. How would you lead this off? And don't be afraid to get it wrong now, because I'd rather get it wrong now than on the interview.
I guess I go. Right? So I start off by saying the incident response process generally helps us figure out what we need to do in case of a disaster or some type of attack. So we got our playbooks, our run books. That's part of the preparation stage.
Okay.
So if someone comes to you and say, "Hey, I'm receiving all of these emails, whatnot," so what you want to do is in the identification, you want to go in and just check your logs, and by doing that, you're trying to find to see if it's if it's real, if it's or find the source, I guess. I mean,
get technical with me. You said real or what? What's a technical word for that?
The true positive, false positive. Yeah, you did say interview. Yeah, true positive or false positive. Then you move on to the next stage. Oh yeah, your tools. You check your log. Okay, you already did check your log.
What are you using to check your log?
Sim tools.
Sim tools. Yeah.
Good job. Good job.
And then you would lean into the containment of once you figure out where the phishing is actually happening. If it's on a specific server, you would isolate that specific server or network. And then, the next step is to eradicate that that server claim so that you can get any links or any
What's the W word?
white. And then after you wipe it clean, the next thing is to focus on the recovery. So we use corrective controls to actually maybe update some of the firewall security. And the
Antivirus
next,
or so.
yeah.
Okay.
Spam filters, probably.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Clear search history.
Okay.
And the last step is to we figure out the lessons learned. Just going over the whole process and figuring out how we can be better for the next attack.
Right. Good job. And the notes I took here are notes that a recruiter would take. Okay. So if you were going through the incident response process and you said, yeah, the first step is preparation. Yeah, the first step is preparation. Then we go into identification. Then we go into containment. Then it's eradication. Then it's recovery. Then it's lessons learned. That is your incident response process. If Rakita said this, and Celeste said this, who's getting the job?
That's it.
Okay. This is why you don't get second calls. Okay, because this is what it looks like on a piece of paper. They don't remember your voice. They don't remember the friendly conversation they had with you on the phone to butter you up. They have a piece of paper with your name on it, and those notes go to the hiring manager, and they compare it with the other pieces of paper. If you had story points, you could juice this up even more, because this, I wouldn't do this at an interview. I would add a lot more to this.
Okay.
Right? This is great. I think it's a lot better than this. It's way better than that. This is great. But if I wanted to get into the field, I'm going to go above and beyond, because that's what I need to do to beat the next person. But this is
Toby,
good.
instead of saying the like we got the dashes under each step, should we say, hey, this is why we're doing this, to add to it more, like elaborate more?
Boom. Done. You got the job. Boom. She told me why. That's it. It's all about how it's all about articulation, right? Preparation phase. We're going to start with the preparation. Why do we start with the preparation? Well, it's the first step in incident response process. Kind of shouldn't need it if there's an incident right there, because it should already be done. You see how I'm talking more about what this preparation stage is? I'm not even giving the recruiter time to write, right? They don't even know where to start writing now. Okay, that's what you want to do. You want to overwhelm them to the point where they say, slow down, hold on. Right. Then we get into the identification phase. This is one of my favorite phases, because we got to use one of my favorite tools, which is a SIM tool known as Splunk. Right. Hopping into Splunk, checking logs to see if they're false positives or true positives. Since this is a phishing attack, I'm going to be looking at the email logs. Right. I want to look at the email logs to see where the emails were sent to. Boom. I add a lot more to this. Containment. Once we figure out where the emails were sent to, we're going to try to isolate those servers or contain those emails. If they weren't open, right? Hopefully they weren't open. We may have found if they were open, click from the identification phase. But at this point, just so I don't stretch this interview out too long, we're just going to contain and isolate the incident. Then we go to the eradication phase. This phase is pretty straightforward. You're going to wipe the system clean. Now that's if the file was the email was clicked open. We probably wipe the system clean just to take precautionary measures. Afterwards, we would go to the recovery phase, where there are a lot of corrective controls, right? We want to update some email gateway rules to try to maybe install some spam filters, block some senders from sending things to our organization, maybe even implement certification. Whatever we got to implement to prevent this issue from happening again would happen under recovery. And there are other type of controls out there, like technical controls and deterrent controls, but I'm not going to get into that because I start going off into a tangent. And then we come over to lessons learned, which used to be called, post-incident activity, which used to be called lessons learned. Some people call it AAR. We're just going back through the incident to see if we can do things better, see if we can try again, or maybe we just got to throw the whole preparation book away. Hopefully not. But that's incident response process. I could go into a little bit more detail, but I'm trying to save some time here. Boom. That is a grade A answer. Because you talked about a whole bunch of other stuff that was still applicable to this, but the recruiter wasn't expecting that. They just asked you the incident response process, and you gave them that plus more. If you want that offer letter, that's what you need to be studying to do.
Not to toot my own horn, but that's how the first recruiter, when I did my first.
Go ahead, toot your horn, bro.
It's like, slow down. I can't even keep up right now. I was like, yep, that's what you know you feel good when you're answering these questions, because when the recruiter tells you, hey, slow down, he's like, you know what, I've had enough. Like, before I even gave the all my explanations, he already told me, hey, I think I have enough. I can't keep up, but we're just gonna call you for the next interview. Let's just move on to the next step. That right there made me feel good. So, but yeah, Toby's right.
Good job, man. And I'm telling y'all, if you get those story points down, it's over. It's over. It's over. You have everything. You can get the job in the first interview. There are students who have only had one interview because of those story points, right? Fortunately, that first interview was with the hiring manager. Everybody doesn't get that lucky. You go through a recruiter first, but the opportunity was there. If they didn't know their story points, they would have never capitalized on that opportunity. All right? Does the story points take some time to learn? Yes, they do. Because you got to sit there and actually go through it, read it, make sure you understand what's being said, and probably go back into OpenVibes and to the other tools to make sure you understand from a technical perspective what's going on. Is that a lot of work? Yeah. Who cares? You want to get in the field, right? So do what you got to do to get in.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally that simple. 1 + 1 = 2. Don't overcomplicate it. All right. We'll do one more question. One more question. Okay, and I want y'all to try to go in on this. What is the CIA triad interview style? He said he's dropping gems. Yeah. It's for the world though. Not just, yeah, I know. It's for the world though. That's why it's on YouTube, guy. What's up, Joe? Anybody want to take a stab at it? I know y'all know what it is. Y'all just being scary right now. Come on, y'all. What's the CIA triad?
Okay, I'll take a crack at it.
All right.
All right. So the CIA triad is basically the foundational principles that we use in security. Number one, well, to secure and protect data in security. Number one, confidentiality. That's what the C stands for. With that, you deal with encryption and protecting data, concealing data to make sure that it gets to one destination to the next securely, and that only the certain people that's meant to see that data can see that data. The I stands for integrity, meaning that the data isn't modified or changed or anything like that in that process. And then A stands for availability, meaning that the data is available when it needs to be available, when it goes through the process of being looked upon or open or things like that. I know I can add to this. So also with integrity, I'm not like all over the place, but with integrity, that's what you deal with like hashing and things like that. But yeah, and availability, data must always be available for like the recipients. So
I can piggyback a little bit on that. And with availability, also just making sure who has access to the information. And then with integrity, obviously just validating and trusting the information. So obviously you should feel confident that the data has not been tampered with, data has not been altered, as you said. And go back to confidentiality. You just make sure the information is private. Only authorized users can have access to it. So it's a need to know persons to have it. And in terms, if we follow the CIA triad, not only will it protect the business, especially against lawsuits, because if we skip any of those steps, it hurts the integrity of the business and the business loses money.
How can we break confidentiality up a little bit further? If you wanted to get cool points on this interview, what would you talk about?
So with confidentiality, you're focusing on encryption. And some of one of the that I love and just the standard for encryption is just using AES, which is the standard for confidentiality or encryption. And integrity focuses on hashes or patches.
Yep. Hashes, you got it.
Which is, I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, just drew a blank.
Which will always protect your data and your information, your files from being vulnerable to attacks and things like that. So,
Right. Hey, Rakita, good job. That was dope. for your first, like that was really good. Vest, good follow up. Terrell, Jamar, everybody, good follow up. This was dope. Okay, some things that we can add in here. We can go into the different types of encryption if you wanted to. Like, hey, actually, we started that with the AES stuff. Like, there's AES. There are different ways to keep the data private. You could use symmetric encryption or asymmetric encryption. You could actually use both too, right? Asymmetric and symmetric encryption. If you want to use symmetric encryption, there are block ciphers like AES. That's the standard. You could also use stream ciphers, which is you would usually use for speed. Asymmetric encryption uses two keys, public and private keys. The only thing is you'd have to manage those keys, right? Which is why some people like symmetric encryption better, because it's not too many keys you got to manage. Integrity, the only thing that we're missing here are the types of hashes, right? You could use MD5, MD4, one of the SHA-256, SHA-512. The higher the number, the stronger that hashing algorithm. And then with availability, we could have mentioned the tools, right? Some tools that we can use to increase availability. Load balancers, we increase the availability of our application servers. RAID can increase the availability of our data. And there are other tools out there and concepts such as redundancy and eliminated single points of failure to increase availability. So y'all are good, man. It's just practice, right? Obviously, mine is going to sound a little bit more fluid because I've been doing this for a while, right? I've actually been using all of these concepts for a very long time, right? So don't compare the way you sound to me, right? That wouldn't be fair at all. You all sound good, especially for your first times trying to answer it interview style. And it's like in front of everybody, right? It's kind of nerve-wracking a little bit. I know I said everybody's being scary, but you are, right? It's a little bit nervous. You don't know what to say. You want to get it right. So good job, everybody. That's dope. All right. Any other questions, y'all? All right. That is going to be it for tonight. Class, I'm going to see you on Monday. That's Larry, work on those story points, get those things locked in, try to knock those out over the weekend. If there are no other questions, I'm going to see everybody else on Monday night, and I'll see YouTube and the rest of you all on Thursday night.
I appreciate it,
y'all. Yep.
All right, later. Thanks.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend.
All right, thank you.
Weekend.